Hey everybody, it's me again, just making another video. The last video I had, I had a video up, but it was just loading and it didn't pop up yet. But I thought I deleted it because I didn't like how that video was. But anyhow, I'm back from one day. I know I said I would have been back on Tuesday or Wednesday, but I just thought I'd make another video. Well, I just thought I'd make my return and come back and make another video. Just thought I needed that. Maybe I guess that 1 day break was good enough. But yeah, anyhow, this is gonna be my video, which was requested by a YouTuber by the name of mightymoz, or the video he wanted me to do, which is comparing the WWE from the 1990s to now. So anyhow, let's get started with this video. So I want to compare the WWE from the 1990s to now. So let's get started. I got three things or four things that I'm going to compare to now and why one is better than what it was before. So let's get started. So the first thing is I'm gonna compare the let's do this. So the first thing, back then in the 1990s, the WWE had a lot of heels and then a lot of faces. I mean, the heels and faces pretty much even both sides kind of evened each other out. I mean, look who you had as heel back in the 1990s. Well, we can go back to the early 1990s or 1991 or whatever, when the WWE was kind of big. Let's see. Let's start with the faces. As the faces, you had the Ultimate Warrior, you had the Big Boss Man. Let's see. You had Tugboat at one point before he turned heel. You had Grave the Hammer Valentine. You had Hercules. You had the Legion of Doom. You had the Hart Foundation. You had Bret Hart, of course, and then the list just goes on and on. Virgil, and then many other guys. We then go to the heels, which you had Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, you had Rick Martel, you had Shawn Michaels after he turned on Marty Jannetty, you had the Warlord. Oh yeah, yeah, British Bulldog is a face too. And then as a heel, let's see what the heels we got. Well, going more heels, you had Jake the Snake Roberts, you had Macho Man Randy Savage, you had Macho Man Randy Savage again when he was face. Well, Macho Man as a heel, then him as a face. You had Earthquake as a heel. You had Dino Bravo. You had Texas Tornado as a face. Let's see. And then you have many countless of guys. And then when we go to the Attitude Era, or we go to the 1997 or whatever, you had the Nation of Domination. Its heels with Farouk and of course the other ones. Then you had Ahmed Johnson at one point. Then you had Ahmed Johnson as a face. You had The Rock as a heel. You had The Rock as a face. You had the Legion of Doom. You had the New Age Outlaws as heels at one point. You had Shawn Michaels as a heel. You had Triple H as a heel. And you had just many other countless guys. And then, of course, you had the Attitude Era with Triple H as a heel. You had X-Pac as a face. And then just many other guys. So basically, you had a lot of heels and faces that were evened out towards each other. Now, now looking at the WWE now, you don't really have that many faces and you don't really have that many heels, and that's why I think the WWE is kind of better when it comes to heels and faces from back then, because you had a lot of heels. I mean, just about everybody back in the 1990s to the late 1990s was a heel. I mean, just about everybody was a heel. But when you look at it now, you got more faces, whether it's on SmackDown or whether it's on the Raw, than you do heels which is kind of sad, because back when wrestling hit its peak, you had a lot of heels and you had a lot of faces that were kind of even out towards each other. But when you look at now, the heels and the faces are not even out there. You got less heels and more faces, which I think is more different back then than it is now. Then when you look at the WWE from back then to now, you got to look at the ticket prices. I mean, the ticket prices were pretty cheap back then. I mean, most of the tickets were running you about $50 to maybe $100, whether you were sitting in the front row or you were sitting in the bleachers or whatever, the cheap seats as they would call it. And the prices were pretty cheap back then. I mean, anybody could afford any price back then from how the prices in the venues were back then. But if you look at the WWE now, their prices are kind of up now. Like it's like 200. It's like the prices can go anywhere from like 90 to maybe $300, and I think that's a pretty big difference from back then how the price was to now, where the price back then where the price was pretty cheap to now where the price was kind of to now where all the price where everything is like high and pretty expensive now, and the seats at every wrestling venue is pretty high now. Then kind of the third thing is the merchandise sales. Like back then, the merchandise really wasn't selling that much, even though well, in the Attitude Era it kind of was. But if you look at it now, the merchandise has kind of gone up, and all the merchandise is going up, and everything is selling out now. To where now, back then, most of the merchandise back then really didn't sell out, and they would always still be in stock, and you'd be able to have a chance to get it. But compared to now, if you have to rush just to get whatever you want because it just goes out like real fast, and that's why I think the WWE is different from back then to what it is now. Then we go to the next thing, which is the wrestling style. Back then, the wrestling style was like a little bit fast, and most of the wrestlers could wrestle any kind of pace and do any kind of move they wanted, and yeah, pretty much do any kind of move that they wanted to do back then, and really they weren't told to tone down their moves. But if you look at now, most wrestlers have to tone down moves that could be kind of dangerous to which could be kind of dangerous to whoever they're wrestling now, and that's what I think is a big difference to back then, where most moves wouldn't be toned down. Any wrestler would do any move, and they wouldn't really get in trouble. Is to now, when a wrestler tries to do a specific move, they gotta tone it down, or any kind of move that looks dangerous, they gotta tone it down, and that's what I think is a big difference from then to now, is how the moves are done now. I think that's a big difference, and that's why I think back then, I mean, wrestlers were kind of able to do like freestyle, like do moves in the ring and not be told to tone down most of their moves in the ring, and that's what I think is different between the two. Then finally, the main difference from back then to now. Back then was WWE used to do arenas in like small venues and pay-per-views and house shows and like small venues in front of like small crowds, like back how they did it in the 80s. And sometimes they would do the same pay-per-view again from the same pay-per-view, like one pay-per-view in January that they did in Anaheim or whatever. They would do the same pay-per-view like in October or November in the same arena. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say about that. And then if you look at it now, the WWE is kind of expanding the globe now when it comes to doing arenas like in house shows and pay-per-views. Like every pay-per-view they do is like, now it's like in different areas now. It's not in the same area twice. It's always in different areas. Like, just think about it. WrestleMania 26, they're going to be going to Phoenix, Arizona, and then many other pay-per-views are going to be doing in different backyards. So yeah, I think that's the main difference right there, that the WWE used to do pay-per-views and house shows in small arenas in front of small crowds. But if you look at it now they're doing it in big arenas, and like big arenas in front of big crowds and in different cities and different states. And I think that's the main big difference right there. Anyhow, that's just giving you my video, which Mighty Moz wanted me to do, comparing the WWE from the 1990s to now. Hopefully I explained everything well to this YouTuber and to everybody who's watching this video. Hope you like my video. You can rate, you can comment, you can subscribe if you are watching this video right now. For some of you who have subscribed, look out for more new good stuff. Until then, hope to see you tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.